Detroit built trucks that ran for 30 years, 300,000 miles on original engines. Farmers passed them to their sons. Sons passed them to theirs. Yet today, you cannot find a single one at a dealership. These 15 trucks ran forever, but vanished anyway. Number 15, the 1977 Ford F-150 Flareside. Most people think the F-150 has always been the F-150. It has not. For most of the 1960s and the 1970s, Ford's half-ton workhorse was called the F-100. Simple. Tough. Built for people who used trucks as tools, not status symbols. Then in 1975, Ford introduced a new designation sitting between the F-100 and the F-250. They called it the F-150. Slightly beefier frame, higher payload rating, built specifically to clear emissions regulations that applied to lighter vehicles. The F-100 was a half-ton. The F-150 was rated just above the cutoff. Nobody outside of Ford's engineering department understood what that meant yet. By 1977, the F-150 Flareside was in full production. The Flareside meant a narrow bed with exposed rear fenders, the step-side profile that made the truck look like it was built for actual work. And it was. The 1977 F-150 Flareside came with a 351 cubic inch Windsor Vive 8 as the primary engine option. That engine was already a legend. Ford dealers could not keep them on the lot. Ford kept the F-100 running alongside the F-150 all the way until 1983. By then, the F-150 had completely taken over. The F-100 was quietly discontinued. The F-150 went on to become the best-selling vehicle in American history for 30 years running. But the 1977 Flareside, that specific truck, that specific era before the F-150 became a luxury product with a 12-inch touchscreen and massaging front seats, is gone. The truck that started the most successful vehicle line in American history barely resembles what the nameplate is today. Number 14, the 1955 Chevrolet Cameo Carrier. In 1955, Chevrolet built a truck that had no business existing. The pickup market in the mid-50s was purely a working man's market. Trucks were farm equipment, construction equipment. Nobody bought a pickup to feel good about themselves. Chevrolet's designers apparently did not get that memo. The 1955 Cameo Carrier arrived with a flush fiberglass bed that completely hid the rear fenders. Every other truck on the market had exposed fenders and bare metal everything. The Cameo had smooth body panels all the way around. It looked like a concept vehicle. Chevrolet also gave it a padded dashboard, chrome trim, and interior upholstery that matched the exterior paint. In 1955, on a pickup truck, it also came standard with Chevrolet's 265 cubic inch small block V8. The same engine transformed the Corvette into a performance icon. In a pickup truck, it made the Cameo genuinely quick by the standards of the day. Chevrolet built the Cameo Carrier from 1955 through 1958. 4 model years. Total production across all 4 years was just over 10,000 units. Today, a clean original sells for between $40,000 and $80,000, with the best examples pushing well beyond that. What the Cameo Carrier actually was a 40-year preview of the luxury truck market. The idea that a pickup could be comfortable and desirable rather than purely functional was not invented in the 90s. Chevrolet figured it out in 1955 and then quietly walked away from it. Number 13, the 1993 Ford SVT Lightning. By 1993, The performance truck market did not exist. Nobody was building factory hot rod pickups. It wasn't a category, which makes what Ford's special vehicle team did that year genuinely hard to explain. The SVT Lightning was a standard F-150 with the suspension completely reworked. Ford dropped in a 5.8-liter V8 producing 240 horsepower, fitted four-wheel disc brakes, lowered the suspension, and tuned the steering for actual performance. This was not a styling package. This was a truck built to be driven hard. Ford built 5,276 Lightnings in the first model year. That's not a typo, by the way, just over 5,000 units. Then SVT revised the suspension and the output for 1994 and 1995. Then they stopped. 3 model years, and it was gone. Ford brought the Lightning back in 1999 with a supercharged 5.4-liter V8 and more power than most muscle cars. That version ran until 2004. Then it was gone again. Then in 2022, Ford announced the Lightning name would return on an electric truck. Most people only know the electric version. The original 1993 SVT Lightning, the truck that invented the performance pickup category without anyone asking for it, barely gets mentioned. Number 12, the 1991 GMC Syclone. As quick as 4.3 seconds to 60 miles per hour in some tests. That was the result that made the automotive press stop and look twice in 1991 in a pickup truck. At a time when a Ferrari 348 was considered a benchmark sports car, Car and Driver magazine pitted a Syclone against a Ferrari 348 TS in a direct comparison that year. The Syclone beat the Ferrari in the quarter mile. A pickup truck beat a Ferrari at the drag strip. That single test cemented the Syclone's place in automotive history. The GMC Syclone was built on a standard S10 platform with a turbocharged 4.3-liter V6 producing 280 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. All-wheel drive, intercooled turbo, performance-tuned suspension. The bed was rated for a payload of just 500 pounds. This was not a work truck. GMC knew exactly what it was. Production ran for 1 model year. GMC built 2,995 Syclones in 1991 and then discontinued it. The Syclone also ran faster to 60 miles per hour than the Corvette ZR1 in testing that same year. A stock Corvette ZR1 in a truck with a pickup bed. Number 11, the 1969 Jeep Gladiator. Before the modern Gladiator arrived in 2019 and became one of Jeep's best-selling vehicles, there was the original, and the original came first by a long way. Jeep introduced the Gladiator in 1963. It was a body-on-frame pickup truck built on the same platform as the Wagoneer, with optional four-wheel drive at a time when four-wheel drive pickup trucks were genuinely rare. Most working trucks in the early 1960s were two-wheel drive. If you needed off-road capability, you bought a purpose-built military surplus vehicle, or you made do. The Gladiator changed that. It offered a proper truck bed, genuine payload capacity, and Jeep's proven four-wheel drive system in a package that could go from a job site to a mountain trail without modification. By 1969, it was well established in markets where terrain actually mattered. Farmers bought them, rangers bought them. Anyone who worked land that regular trucks couldn't handle bought them. Jeep discontinued the Gladiator name in 1988. It became the Comanche. Then the name disappeared entirely for over 30 years. The modern Gladiator has sold over 200,000 units since its relaunch, and most of those buyers have no idea the original existed, or that it was doing the same job 6 decades ago. Number 10, the 1972 Chevrolet LUV. In 1972, Chevrolet started selling a compact pickup truck at American dealerships. It had a 4-cylinder engine, a short bed, and a simple cab. Nothing remarkable about that description. Except for one thing. Chevrolet didn't build it. The LUV, which stood for Light Utility Vehicle, was built entirely by Isuzu in Japan and shipped to the United States wearing a Chevrolet badge. This was America's relationship with Japanese manufacturing beginning in plain sight at Chevy dealerships in the middle of the truck wars, and almost nobody knew it at the time. The LUV filled a gap Chevrolet couldn't fill with its own lineup. American trucks in 1972 were large, heavy, and thirsty. The fuel crisis hadn't hit yet, but it was coming. The LUV delivered significantly better fuel economy than any full-size Chevy pickup of the era. Buyers who needed a truck for light work and couldn't justify the running costs of a full-sizer started paying attention. Chevrolet sold the LUV from 1972 through 1982, 10 model years. By the end of the run, Isuzu had improved the engine, added a diesel option, and offered a 4-wheel drive configuration that made the little truck genuinely capable off-road. Then, Chevrolet replaced it with the S10, built domestically, and the LUV was gone. What the LUV actually was the proof of concept that made every compact American truck that followed possible. The S10, the Ranger, the Dakota. All of them owe something to a Japanese-built truck wearing a bow tie that most truck guys today have never heard of. Number 9, the 1961 Ford Econoline pickup. Ford built a pickup truck in 1961 with the engine under the front seat, not in front of the driver, under the driver. Cab over engine layout, flat nose, the cab sitting directly over the front axle with zero hood in front of it. The reason was simple. Ford wanted to maximize bed length without increasing the overall footprint of the vehicle. If you moved the engine under the cab, you could push the bedi all the way forward and get a working surface that no conventional truck of the same length could match. A standard pickup of that era dedicated roughly a third of its total length to hood and engine bay. The Econoline pickup dedicated almost none of it. The result was a truck that looked like nothing else on the road, flat front, giant windshield. The driver sat perched directly over the front wheels with a clear view of everything ahead. Contractors loved it in tight urban environments where conventional trucks were awkward to maneuver. Plumbers and electricians who needed maximum bed space in a vehicle that could park on a city street bought them. Ford sold the Econoline pickup from 1961 through 1967, 6 model years. Then Ford moved the Econoline platform to a conventional front engine layout, and the cab over pickup configuration disappeared entirely. No American manufacturer has seriously attempted it since. And no, I'm not making that up. Ford built a truck where you sat over the engine. It worked brilliantly for the people who bought it, and then it just stopped existing. Number 8, the 1983 Dodge Rampage. The Dodge Rampage was a front-wheel drive pickup truck. Let that land for a second. Every pickup truck argument you have ever heard, every debate about capability and towing and real-world utility starts from the assumption that trucks are rear-wheel drive. The Rampage was not. It was built on the Dodge Omni platform, which was a front-wheel drive economy car. Dodge took that platform, stretched the rear section, dropped in a cargo bed, and called it a truck. It made a certain kind of sense. The Omni platform was reliable, fuel-efficient, and easy to manufacture. Front-wheel drive gave the Rampage decent traction in light snow without four-wheel drive hardware and expense. The bed was small but genuinely functional for light loads, and the interior was car-level comfortable, because it was essentially a car. Dodge sold the Rampage from 1982 through 1984. 3 model years. It was never a big seller. Truck buyers of that era were not ready for a front-wheel drive vehicle wearing a pickup badge. The idea was too far outside what the market expected. But the car-based pickup concept the Rampage was attempting is exactly what Subaru made work 2 decades later with the Baja, and what El Camino fans had been advocating for years. Dodge got there first with front-wheel drive and got almost no credit for it. Number 7, the 1960 Studebaker Champ. By 1960, Studebaker was already in serious financial trouble. The South Bend, Indiana automaker had been losing ground to the Big Three for years, and everyone in the industry could see the company was running out of time. Against that backdrop, Studebaker's design team built one of the best-looking trucks of the entire decade. The Champ arrived in 1960 with styling that was genuinely ahead of what Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge were offering. Clean lines, a wide cab, a hood design that felt modern rather than boxy. Studebaker offered it in both standard and extended cab configurations and made it available with a range of engines, including a supercharged option that produced more power than anything comparable on the market. The problem was the company behind it. Studebaker's financial position deteriorated steadily through the early 60s. Parts availability became unreliable. Dealer networks shrank. Buyers who might have chosen a Champ hesitated because they weren't sure the company would be around to honor warranties. Studebaker discontinued the Champ in 1964 when it shut down its South Bend manufacturing operations entirely. The company tried to survive by importing vehicles from its Canadian plant, but it was over within 2 years. This decision seemed small at the time. It wasn't. A truck that was beating the competition on styling died because the accounting department ran out of runway. Number 6, the 1983 Dodge Ram 50 Power Ram. In the middle of the compact truck wars of the 1980s, Dodge was selling a small pickup that was quietly one of the most capable compact four-wheel drive trucks on the American market. The Ram 50 Power Ram had a proper part-time four-wheel drive system, a range of Mitsubishi-built engines known for reliability, and a price point that undercut the competition. Here is the detail that everyone missed at the time. The Ram 50 was built entirely by Mitsubishi in Japan, every single one. Dodge was buying the trucks from Mitsubishi, putting a Ram badge on them, and selling them through its dealer network. The partnership was formalized through Chrysler's equity stake in Mitsubishi Motors, which meant Dodge was not just reselling a Japanese truck, it was part owner of the company that built it. The four-wheel drive Power Ram configuration was genuinely impressive for its size. Off-road testers in the early 80s consistently rated it alongside the Toyota and Nissan compact trucks that were dominating the segment. Dodge sold the Ram 50 from 1979 through 1993, 14 model years. Long run for a truck almost nobody remembers. When Dodge finally discontinued it, they replaced it with nothing. The compact truck segment moved on, and Dodge walked away from it entirely. Number 5, the 1957 Dodge Power Wagon Crew Cab. If you have ever climbed into a modern pickup truck with 4 doors and a full rear seat and assumed that was always how trucks worked, this entry is for you. The crew cab configuration, 4 full doors, seating for 5 or 6, a proper rear seat with legroom, was not invented by Ford or Chevrolet in the 1990s. It was not a product of the SUV boom or the lifestyle truck era. Dodge built the first production crew cab pickup in 1957 on a Power Wagon 70 years ago. The Power Wagon itself was already a legend by 1957. It had been in continuous production since 1945, built directly from the military trucks Dodge had supplied to the Allied forces during the Second World War. It was overbuilt by design, portal axles, a front-mounted winch as standard equipment, ground clearance that made most terrain irrelevant. Working men in the American West and in agriculture bought them because nothing else could do what a Power Wagon could do. The 1957 crew cab took that platform and added a second row of seating behind the driver. Not a small bench crammed in as an afterthought, a proper rear seat with enough room for working adults. The idea was simple. A rancher or a contractor needed to move equipment and move people at the same time. One vehicle, full capability, room for the whole crew. Dodge offered the crew cab Power Wagon through the late 50s and into the 60s. It never became a mainstream product. The trucks were expensive, heavy, and built for buyers with very specific needs. But the configuration Dodge pioneered on that truck is now the dominant form factor in the entire pickup market. The majority of full-size trucks sold in America today are crew cabs. Dodge invented it. Almost nobody knows that. Number 4, the 1981 Volkswagen pickup. In 1981, you could walk into a Volkswagen dealership in the United States and buy a pickup truck, a German-engineered American market pickup truck with a diesel engine option that delivered significantly better fuel economy than any conventional truck on the market. The Volkswagen pickup, known in Europe as the Caddy, was built on the Golf platform. Front-wheel drive, a 1.6-liter diesel engine served as the base power plant. The bed was small but functional, roughly comparable to what other compact pickups of the era offered. The cab was car-level comfortable because it was, structurally, a Golf with a bed where the trunk used to be. Volkswagen sold the pickup in the American market from 1980 through 1984. The timing was almost perfect. The second oil crisis had hit in 1979, fuel prices were rising, and American buyers were actively looking for alternatives to thirsty, full-size trucks. A diesel compact pickup with outstanding fuel economy should have been exactly what the market wanted. It wasn't. American truck buyers in 1980 were not ready to accept a front-wheel drive German vehicle as a legitimate truck, regardless of what the fuel economy numbers said. Sales were modest. Volkswagen quietly discontinued the American market version in 1984, and that was the end of it. Today, an original Volkswagen pickup in good condition is a serious collector vehicle. Prices have been climbing steadily for a decade. Buyers who want the combination of genuine fuel efficiency, simple mechanicals, and the novelty of a factory Volkswagen truck are paying real money for them. The market that rejected it in 1980 is now paying a premium to own one. Number 3, the 1980 International Harvester Scout Terra. International Harvester was not a car company. It was a farm equipment and commercial vehicle company that happened to make trucks and SUVs on the side. And for a specific type of American buyer, the kind who worked land for a living and needed equipment that actually worked rather than equipment that looked good, International Harvester built some of the most capable vehicles ever sold at an American dealership. The Scout Terra was the pickup version of the Scout II SUV introduced in 1976. It used the Scout's proven body on frame platform with a shortened pickup bed behind the cab. It was available with either two-wheel or four-wheel drive. Engine options ranged from a 196 cubic inch four-cylinder through to a 345 cubic inch V8 that produced enough torque to make the truck genuinely capable of serious off-road and towing work. What made the Terra different from competing compact pickups was the same thing that made every International Harvester product different. It was built to a commercial standard rather than a consumer standard. The components were heavier than they needed to be. The engineering was conservative and proven rather than cutting edge and experimental. These were trucks built by people who made farm equipment and understood that reliability was not optional. International Harvester discontinued the Scout Terra in 1980 along with the entire Scout line. The company was facing a severe financial crisis driven by its agricultural equipment division, and the consumer vehicle program was the first thing cut. Not because the trucks were failing, because the tractors were. The Scout name has been revived and acquired by Volkswagen for a new line of electric off-road vehicles. But the original Terra, the last real truck International Harvester built for American buyers, went out of production over 40 years ago, and the company that built it never made another consumer vehicle. They built the right truck. The wrong division killed it. Number 2, the 1966 Ford Ranchero. Most people credit General Motors with inventing the car truck category. The El Camino is the vehicle that gets remembered. The El Camino is not the one that came first. Ford introduced the Ranchero in 1957, 2 full years before the El Camino arrived in 1959. The Ranchero was a car-based body with a pickup bed, combining car-level ride and comfort with genuine cargo capability. It drove like a car, rode like a car, got fuel economy like a car, and carried cargo like a small truck. Ford sold the Ranchero from 1957 all the way through 1979, 23 model years. Through that run, it went through several platform changes. The 1966 version, riding on the Fairlane platform, is widely considered one of the strongest of the entire line. Clean styling, available V8 options that made it genuinely quick, a practical bed that could handle real loads, and it outsold the El Camino in multiple years. Yet today, when someone mentions a car truck, the El Camino gets the credit and the Ranchero gets a blank stare. Ford built the category, dominated it for over 2 decades, and walked away from it in 1979 when the market shifted toward conventional trucks. General Motors kept the El Camino going until 1987, got an extra 8 years out of the category Ford invented, and got the historical credit for inventing it. That is how you lose the narrative on something you actually created. Number 1, the 1991 Chevrolet 454 SS. In 1990, Chevrolet's engineering team looked at the standard C500 half-ton pickup, pulled out the base engine, and dropped in a 454 cubic inch big block V8, 7.4 liters of displacement, 230 horsepower, and 385 pound-feet of torque, at a time when most pickups were working with significantly less of both. They called it the Ford F-150 SS. They painted it black, they lowered the suspension, they added sport wheels and a performance exhaust, and then they put it on dealer lots and waited to see what happened. What happened was that truck buyers who had been waiting their entire lives for a factory-built muscle truck showed up and paid full sticker price. The 454 SS moved faster than Chevrolet expected in its first year. Approximately 13,748 of them were sold in 1990 alone, more than any subsequent year of production. The truck ran through the 1993 model year, 4 years total. Chevrolet then discontinued it as emissions regulations tightened and the big block became increasingly difficult to certify for street use. The base price in 1990 was $18,295. Today, a clean original 454 SS in good condition sells for between $30,000 and $60,000, depending on mileage and specification. A truck that cost $18,000 new is now a serious collector vehicle 3 decades later. Detroit built one of the greatest factory performance trucks in American history, sold it for 4 years, and then walked away from it. The big block pickup that everybody wanted and almost nobody remembers. Every truck on this list ran forever. Every single one of them is gone. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and watch the next video above.